Welcome to today's episode, and today I'm very privileged to be joined by Pete Taylor. So, Pete and I are going to talk a little bit about the benefits of men's work, discipline, purpose, and many, many more things. So, I'm really glad Pete could join us because he's a very busy man on a big mission out there helping lots of people. So, Pete is the CEO of The Heroic Man, and we'll dive a little bit into what that is in a minute. He's really out there trying to help as many men as possible, help them grow, help them with their purpose, and really develop themselves. And Pete and I actually met in a men's group workshop as well, which was really, really cool. So, Pete, welcome to the show. I'm glad we could make this happen. So, yeah, be first of all really interesting to the listener, perhaps to hear a little bit about what the Heroic Man is and what got you into it? Like, what was your story around forming it?
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks, Johnny. Thanks for having me on. I'll take you back super quick. I'll do a quick 2 minute how this all started. How I went from owning an architectural practice with 20 people in my team. I had a building in Ascot High Street. We owned the building. I had tenants in the building, winning multiple awards. How I had my dream cars, my nice watches, a beautiful wife, a son on the way, a big house in the countryside, garden that was big enough that you had to have one of those sit-on lawnmowers. I had a deer living in the garden. Like I had, and this was like early 30s.
Mm.
I had all the things that I thought I ever wanted. I built this dream company. I'd kind of from the outside, I built this dream lifestyle. And so where I used to live, just outside Oxfordshire in the UK. And I even had my dream dog, right? The dog I always wanted. And across the road from me, there's thousands of acres of woodlands, beautiful. And I'd take my dog for walks there, and I'd walked this walk hundreds of times. This particular day, which was September, it was a Saturday in early September, Saturday, 2021, and I took that walk, and I was so fucking lost. Even though I walked that 100 times, I knew it like the back of my
Mm.
hand. I felt internally so lost, and I couldn't figure it out. I was like, "What the fuck's going on?" I got all these things, everything I ever wanted in my 20s. I've got it. Why in my head am I fucking so lonely? I feel so isolated. There's thoughts going through my mind that I cannot comprehend. Like as a man, as a on paper, a high performing guy,
Mm.
and I'm thinking dark thoughts. Like I talk about it now, it's like the dark night of the soul. And I faced that night and it was horrendous. But it was also for me, it was a bit of a turning point. It was let's be fucking real. Like your marriage isn't great, right? The business looks great on the outside, but on the inside, it's very toxic. You've got no fucking boundaries. You're letting people walk over you. You're a yes man. You just want to say, you want to please everyone around you. Um, and so I made a decision in that moment to take a different route, what I call a route B, the illogical route. And I quit my business. I quit my own company. And a month later, I done a micro exit on it and I was out. What I found was that there was plenty of other guys that were like me, that were quote unquote climbing wrong mountains or climbing mountains in the wrong way. And I found that there was no spaces for guys like me and you, Johnny, and probably a lot of the listeners to talk
Mm.
about the shit that I was holding on my shoulders, the shit that I was holding in my chest, everything that I was suppressing, everything that society told me I couldn't fucking talk about. Because how could I talk about like I'm feeling fucking depressed and the trees in the back of my garden are looking like a good idea to my team? So
Mm.
how could I talk about like they'd be like fucking pizza leader, like what the fuck? He's having a breakdown. Um,
Mm.
and I tried talking to my like some of my friends about it. They just didn't get it. Oh, mate, fucking man up. Crack on. You'll be all right.
Wow.
Head down, head down.
Wow.
You know, you'll be all right. And that's no fucking judgment to them. Many guys don't know how to when a guy comes to you and says, I'm not feeling great right now. Many men don't know how to process that and to actually hold the space for the guy and talk about it. can be quite daunting for from the guy on the other side of the room. So on the back end of that, I helped form Awakened Man and Heroic Man, which is essentially a place where men can go and we can talk about our shit
Mm.
without being judged. And we can have the mirror held up to us and say, this is the reality of life. This is what you've got going on right now. How can we process that? And then how can we get you a plan to accelerate your life?
Mm.
And that's how it started.
Well, thanks for obviously. Then I know you're a very transparent and open guy as well. I appreciate you sharing a little bit about your story and the fact that you felt like, I need to talk about this stuff, even though you felt like you had your dream life at one point, everything you wanted in your 20s. And now obviously you're working with a number of men to allow them to share as well. With men's groups for you, like you just shared obviously a benefit of men being able to share some of their shit with each other, rather than keep it to themselves, or not feel like they can share it with other people in their life. For you, what's maybe been one or two of the other benefits of a men's group? Because I know the reason for my question is I know in the past I've been a kind of man who's been like, no, I've got to do it. I'm an achiever. I've got to do it on my own, that kind of thing. And I know lots of people like to do stuff alone. So for you, are there any other benefits of being part of a men's community for guys?
There are endless benefits to being
Mm.
part of a men's group. Um, it's so like just going back to a place where men can shoot their shit and talk about what's going on. If you don't do that, this is from my own experience, so I didn't do that for many, many, many years. And
Mm.
so I'd suppress rage, I'd suppress anger, I'd suppress my sadness, I'd suppress whatever fucking emotion came up for me, to be honest. I'd just put it in the shadow.
Mm.
But then what would happen is that it would just creep through either in forms of like being passive aggressive, or it would come out in just rage, just bursts, like 0 to 100 super quick. And it comes out with most of the time with the people that you love, your
Mm.
wife, your children, your friends. And whereas having a group of guys where you can talk about, hey, this is what I've got going on right now. I don't know how to process it. I'm just going to talk about it with you guys. That that verbalizing that is a form of therapy, is a form of processing it. Okay. And then you've
Mm.
got guys there that are going to do one or two things. If they're conscious men, they're going to hear you. They're not going to try and solve it for you and go, oh, mate, I've got the solution for you. Because sometimes that's the worst thing you can do. You know,
Mm.
when like your missus, or
Mm.
you got a girlfriend, you got a partner,
Mm.
and she comes to you with a problem, and immediately as guys, what do? We're fucking because we're logical. I'll
Made that
solve that.
mistake many times. Yeah.
Let me solve it for you, please. And the guys are the same. We don't always want our shit solved. Sometimes it's just like we just want to voice it and verbalize it. And other times it'd be like, hey, I've got this problem. Maybe it's in my relationship. Um, what's your experience with that? And then you got a group of men that go, I've been through the same thing. This is how I
Mm.
processed it. Oh, this is how I came to a solution and fixed that problem. So mega, mega powerful, just purely for that point of view.
Mm. So yeah, like you said, I mean, my personal view as well is there's endless benefits, and being able to verbalize it is a very powerful one. And I also like your point about hearing. And in my experience, sometimes, and again, it's no judgment, like you were saying before, like some of your friends when you went to originally, some people do just want to fix it. They do just want to be like, do this, this, and this, right? And that's not what you need. And that's the beauty I found in some of like the men's work, whether it's the lodge or something else that I've done as well. Just being
Or
able to hold the
or
space.
worse still, like a lot of guys do this,
Mm.
is they'll one up you. So I'll say to you, oh, Johnny, mate, I've had a fucking shit day,
Mm.
right? I fell out with my missus. Um, she's pissed off with me. I then fell out with my child. He's angry at me. And
Mm.
then you go, oh, mate, you should have seen my day.
Okay.
My missus has been pissed off with me for 3 weeks, right? My children aren't even talking to me.
Mm.
And I pissed off my work colleagues. You see, it's like one upping.
Yeah.
So it's like I've just come to you to talk about something and you've just beaten me. It's like competition. Guys do it all the fucking time and they're so unconscious of doing it, right? You get a group of conscious guys that know about that because I'll call them up on it and say, "Hey, dude, you're fucking trying to one up the man there. Just listen to
Ah,
him. Don't try and one up him." And then guys respond well to that. Guys respond well not to being called out, but being called up. It's
mm,
like, hey man, let me just challenge you there. Right? You trying to one up that guy rather than just listen to it. What part of your ego needs to be satisfied? And it's like,
mm,
oh fuck me, there's a little punch to the gut there, but you learn. And if you haven't got guys around you like that, your standard will always just be there, be average, be mediocre, and you won't even realize. Where if you've got guys that are calling you up to a height, your standard raises by being in groups of guys like that.
mm. And I've seen you like call people out, and it's out of a from how I would perceive it, it's out of a place of love as well, maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like deep honesty, radical honesty, when it comes from the right place, is purely coming from love.
Mm, not ego. Two different things, right?
Yeah, well, there is. Like I hosted an event on the weekend with some guys in London. There was about 40 odd guys that came, and I noticed when some of the guys are standing up and talking, and they're trying to give advice, and I'm like, guys, listen, there's two things here. When you're giving advice, check yourself. Is the advice coming from your ego? Is that I want to say
Ooh.
something here because it's going to increase my status?
Mm,
So there's 40 guys. If I say something here and it comes across really fucking good, then that's going to increase my status.
mm,
That if that's the reason you're saying something, keep your mouth shut.
mm,
On the other part is that if you are saying something out genuinely you want to impact the man, the other guy in the room or the other guys in the room, it comes from genuine learning. It comes from you actually want to contribute,
mm,
right? It's actually coming from a place of giving, not taking. Like I'm taking because I want to feed my ego. I'm giving because I actually want to give to the room. The second one, that's where you want to be. It's fucking hard.
mm,
That's because for many of us men, for big parts of our life, we live by our egos.
mm,
We live for and like core value of most guys, status. We do things
mm,
for status. Status gets us in bigger rooms, it gets us prettier women and so on and so on and so on. It's status.
mm. So becoming more conscious of that, and that's one of the benefits of like a men's group if they want to challenge you. I'm curious, Pete. Is there anything you found useful to you in terms of like being more conscious to your own self and your own actions towards other people that you found useful, or is it just kind of a continual day-to-day practice as you go through the world?
It never stops.
Mm,
It never stops. But here's a great example of what we're talking about earlier in my coaching call earlier with a load of guys.
mm,
Is that one of the guys had brought up how he's had a fallout in his relationship,
mm-hmm,
and he's quite new to our world, and we talked about it, and I was like, dude, I can actually see where I am in relationships and I am even with my child. I was like, look, I've not completed the matrix here. I'm not like some guru who's world class at this. But my reaction to events is way cooler and way calmer than what it was maybe a couple of years ago. So say for example, my son Leo does something maybe a year or two ago that would have aggravated me and I'd have lost my shit, flipped out 0 to 100, said something I didn't mean to say. Now, because I'm very conscious around, essentially, it's like nervous system regulation.
mm,
I'm very conscious around, like, Leo does something, it might trigger me internally. How quickly can I just get my nervous system back down to neutral and then not react in a negative way or an aggressive way? The same in relationships. It's say you with a woman
mm-hmm,
and you're having a heated conversation or you're having a hard conversation or like you know you pissed her off and she's saying something to you, for so many guys, they were going to fight, flight, or freeze, and switch off, or switch on their highly evoked emotions.
Mm,
Whereas if you're super conscious about what's going on within your body, and you have the skill set to regulate your nervous system, you can be fucking calm in the chaos.
mm,
And a man that's calm in the chaos is fucking safe.
mm,
He's a safe man. Like I see this with my son. I know that he feels safe around me because he knows that daddy's not going to lose his shit all the time. I do, right? Every now and
yeah.
again, I fucking up and I catch myself and I'm like, hey man, dude, like my son's 3.5. I'm like, dude,
Mm,
sorry, man. Like I didn't mean to do that, and this is the reasons why I've done that. So I'll acknowledge that with him so he can understand that daddy's not perfect, right?
mm,
But being consciously attuned, it affects all of your relationships in a positive way.
mm. It's just continual practice, like you said, and yeah, we're all human at the end of the day. It's just practicing that day to day. It sounds like you do, and there's many different things. Obviously, the walls was going to come in, so can't control that. Like totally. Pete, I want to ask you a little bit about. You said you were going back to when we were talking at the beginning. You said you were like lost. You had all these things, and you were like, really thinking about your life. And you said obviously there's some dark moments there, which really appreciate the honesty as always. Definitely been there in probably different circumstances myself. But for a man who's maybe lost and he's like, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? Obviously, it's specific to anyone, but I imagine you've spoken to quite a few men, maybe in that
Mm.
that situations. Is there any kind of like first steps that you found useful when a man's a bit lost with where he's going with his life?
Yeah, I have this question a lot. We have thousands of guys in our communities, and like I'm lost, or I don't know how to find my purpose, or I've got no passion in life. It comes up a lot. Um, Number one, give yourself some self-compassion, right? Like literally just take a step back and go, right, do you know what? That life's crazy, life's chaotic, it's difficult. We know things about life is that it's hard work, it's painful, and it's very, very uncertain. Right? We just don't know what's around the corner today, tomorrow, the next. It's uncertain. Okay. And it's acknowledging that got to give myself some compassion here. The second thing is am I like I just go right the way back to fundamentals. Am I looking after my health? And I know this is quite very surface level, but it's valid that so many guys will neglect their physical health, right? That, as in going at the gym or doing some form of fitness and just eating good. It's amazing, just like getting the foundations there can give you so much. And I'm not saying you're going to find your purpose through doing that, but I can tell you, you have your foundations there with your own health, so you've got good energy. You're way likely to then be able to get on the right path, right? Okay. So that's like get your foundations in place. Get at the gym, sort out your diet, or start running, whatever that looks like, is get healthy. Then the next thing is I've done the go to Bali, meditate on a mountain for 2 weeks. I've done it. I did it years ago. Whilst I was going through this period, I'm like, I need to fucking figure my shit out. Bali would give me the answers. It didn't. It didn't. As much as I tried, it felt good in the moment, and I think like maybe it partly helped, but it wasn't the answer. The answer was really just me taking action. It was me going, I don't quite know where I'm at or what I'm doing, but I know that if I keep moving in a direction, someday I will find it. Like the me walking through the woods that day, that didn't just happen that day. That was over years. It was accumulation of like years of stress and years of like putting masks on that weren't truly me. But what I did do consistently was I was always moving forward. I never sat still. And like this is now I can say that what I'm doing gives me so much fucking purpose.
Mm.
And I can spot two things with it. These are the two things for you to find purpose. Purpose comes in moments. It's not everything that we're doing. It's moments and moments of actually what I've just done now. I feel that was meaningful to me. And where this happens in my life, two things happen. Number one is that I'm doing something that I'm fucking really good at. I'm in like my unique ability. I'm in my zone of genius. I'm doing something that when I'm in it, I'm in complete flow. I'm not really having to think about it, and the days just go. For example, when I was the weekend when I hosted an event, like it just I'm in my complete zone of genius. It's my unique ability. I'm in flow doing that. So and sometimes it's like, well, I'm working a corporate job. I can't do that all the time. Maybe not all the time. Maybe you can find moments of it. Maybe there's things within that corporate job that's like, hey, do you know what? I am good at that and I like doing that. So just do more of it. Doesn't have to be the thing that you do forever. It's just finding the thing. Oh, it's like, hey, do you know what? I actually love training the kids football, being a football coach on the weekend. Just like, hey, just do more of that. Lean into the things that really light you up. And this won't be the answer to I'm going to find purpose through that, but I can fucking tell you, it will lead you to it.
Mm.
It will lead you to that. That's number one. Find the areas that you're really great at and do more of it. The things that light you up. Number two is see where you can contribute to the world. See where you can give back, where it's not about you. This could literally look like just helping someone. Just helping someone in the street, helping someone carry their shopping, or maybe the work that you're doing. Hey, like the football coaching, for example, like you're contributing to a bunch of kids' lives,
Mm.
right? And I can like doing those things, like I'm great at the football coaching, I love that, and I'm contributing, you'll feel so much meaning from that, and you'll get purpose from that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You zone a genius, or kind of where it flows, and then contribution, and those things can be combined a bit, right?
Yes.
Sometimes, yeah, both. Yeah, if you
The
hit
more
both.
the more that you can combine them, the better.
Mm.
Like that's when you're going to start finding more purpose in your life. And it's also it's about this is important to do is figuring out what's important to you.
Mm.
Like figuring out what your intrinsic values are for you as a guy or woman listening to this. What are your intrinsic values? And there's plenty of value-based exercises you can find on Google, right?
Mm.
But just to get a bit of a grasp of that, okay, well, this is what's important to me. Maybe it's growth, maybe it's health, maybe it's contribution, maybe it's like, do you know what, I just want to play full out in life. Maybe it's family. There's like five there which are real like core to you. They run through your DNA. Whenever you're doing any of those five, it lights you up. To get really clear on what they are,
Mm.
and then as much as you can, do more of that in your life.
Mm.
So moment to moment to moment, it's am I doing something that's meaningful to me? Or am I doing something that's meaningless?
Mm.
The more that you do that's meaningful to you, the more I'd be like, fucking, I live a great life, you know. I just feel happy all the time. Like I feel good. The more that you do that's meaningless to you, that's taking you further away from your values and what's important to you, it's meaningless, the more it's like, fucking, I got a shit life.
Mm.
Not happy with my life. Feel fucking lost.
Mm.
Makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, I also like the point you made about moving forward and taking action, because I think we can get, I've certainly been caught up in so much information, and it's like, what do I do? I need to think about this, and like that paralysis by analysis, as a phrase goes. Um, But sometimes you just need to take the action after kind of feeling into things as well, which
You,
you're very much a man of action.
you do, and I'll give you a tip on that.
Mm,
I so I also consult with business owners,
okay.
and so I work with lots of high level CEOs, and I see it in these guys. It's like we think of something what we want to achieve or something we want to do,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like stuck with doing it. A part of the reason they're stuck with doing it is because they're thinking about step 16
Mm,
rather than step one. Say, for example, you want to release a new business. I got a new thing I want to release into the world.
okay.
And it's like, well, um, I don't even know what to put on my website. And I don't even know how to start a website. And then who do I get to design my website? That's step 16. Yeah. Who's going to buy it? That's step fucking 19, right? What's step one? Like literally, what's the 1% thing that you can do right now? Maybe it's like just texting a bunch of the people you know and going, "Hey, I've got this idea for business. To think that sounds good. Like, would
Mm,
you buy that?" Just literally a text message. It's taking you 2 minutes. It's step one.
mm.
Rather and just witness that where you are. It's like I'm struggling to take action, probably because overwhelmed with so many fucking things to do, because there is so many things to do. But maybe you're thinking about
Of
step
course.
16, you should be thinking about step one. What's the 1% thing you can do?
Mm. Yeah, love that in terms of that. Again, the overwhelm, which is a common thing I certainly hear from many people, and yeah, being caught up in it, especially in a project management and a sales background as well. It can easy get caught into that sometimes. So, Pete, really appreciate your time on today. I know there's a ton more value that I see very regularly on your Instagram channel, and I know you're helping a lot of men out there as well. Just before we wrap up today, is there maybe a final point or a re-emphasis of anything we shared that you want to leave us with? And where can the listener find you if they want to find out more about your work or connect with you?
Yeah, this is for men and for women, but mainly the men. Men, get around other men. Be around other guys. Men need men. And if you're a woman listening to this and you have a man and you can see that he's not around other men, encourage him. Get around other guys. It does find a men's group. Men's groups like mine are fucking they're brilliant. But there are plenty of them. Doesn't have to be mine. It could just be like I'm gonna get down the gym and form a group of guys down there. I'm gonna start jujitsu and or some form of MMA or like a team sport. Just get your guy, or if you're a guy, be around other men. Because otherwise, before you know it, click your fingers, it's been 5 years and you're isolated. And it can happen really quickly. So get around other guys. And then if you want to find out more about my stuff, it is heroicman.com or heroic man official on Instagram, or look me up, Pete Taylor.
Amazing, Pete. Well, appreciate your time coming on today, and we'll be sure to link those up. And yeah, a massive appreciation on behalf of me and the listener today.
Thank you, Johnny.
Awesome. So that concludes our episode for today. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.